What is up, guys? My name's Matt from Magic the Greatening, and today I got a deck tech that I should have made a while ago, and I always talk about and I sideboard cards against, but I actually haven't made a deck tech for. It's going to be green-black -1 counters. A -1 counters deck with green-black. Probably the green-black +1/+1 counters deck is slightly better. It's going to cost a lot more, but it's going to be slightly better because you're playing cards like Walking Ballista, Verdurous Gear Hulk, and stuff like that. But this is the -1 counters deck revolving around Hapatra and Nest Scarabs, so let's get right into it. Alright, let's get into the creatures here. We're not playing any 1-drops, unfortunately. We got a lot of 2-drops here. We're going to play 4 copies of Hapatra, 4 copies of Exemplar Strength, and 4 copies of Channeler Initiate. Hapatra is one of the only reasons this deck kind of even exists. She puts out 1/1 Death Touch Snakes. And I know she's got the Legend rule, and I know a lot of people don't like to play 4-ofs, but we do want to see this at all times in the game. We want to see it on turn 2. We want to see it as soon as it gets killed. We want this thing out at all times. Exemplar of Strength obviously goes with the theme of putting -1 counters. He also become just a 2-mana 4/4, so that's pretty good. And Channeler Initiate, again, the -1 counter themes and can ramp us, which can be very important for turn 3, because on turn 2, we can have Channeler Initiate, and then turn 3, we can do a Hapatra and then into an Exemplar Strength and start getting some snakes out on turn 3. So Channeler Initiate fits well with the curve, and it's got -1 counters, so it does pretty well. Let's go to the other creatures. We're going to play 3 copies of Crocodile of the Crossing, 4 copies of Defiant Greatmaw, 3 copies of Soulstinger. Crocodile of the Crossing is just a 4-mana 5/4 haste that forces you to put a -1 counter on a creature, which is good for Exemplar Strength and Channeler Initiate. Or you can go ahead and put it on a Soulstinger, which is pretty good. You just dump all your -1 counters onto a Soulstinger, and this is just a form of removal. A lot of the times, as soon as you start putting multiple -1 counters on Soulstinger, your opponent will remove it, but it kind of wastes a removal spell from their hand, because this is just a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. And then Defiant Greatmaw is a 3-mana hippo that enters. You have to put 2 -1 counters on things, but whenever you put a -1 counter on Defiant Greatmaw, you remove a -1 counter from another target creature you control. So you're going to be constantly putting -1 counters on guys and removing it, which is really good if you have Hapatra out or Nest of Scarabs. So, speaking of that, let's go to our non-creature spells. We're going to play 4 copies of Nest of Scarabs and 4 copies of Splendid Agony. Again, the Nest of Scarabs is just like not a better version, but a worse version of Hapatra, because it only puts out 1/1 insects, but again, it's creature tokens, and which is kind of the theme we're going here. It's kind of a token deck, in a way, with -1 counters, and Nest of Scarabs goes with that. And then Splendid Agony is a removal spell using -1 counters, which will give us 2 snakes, or, you have a turn 2 Hapatra, turn 3 Nest of Scarabs, turn 4, it doesn't fit with the curve, but you can play a Splendid Agony, and then you're getting 2 insects and 2 Death Touch snakes. So, had to play the full 4 of that. The other spells we're playing is 3 Grasp of Darkness, which is one of the most expensive cards in the deck next to Channeler Initiate, and 3 Hapatra's Mark, which can keep our guys from being removed, and removes all -1 counters from them, which can be a good thing, especially for a thing like Exemplar of Strength, or maybe a Defiant, not a Defiant Meatball, a Crocodile of the Crossing, excuse me. Hapatra's Mark can just make it a 4-mana 5/4 haste, and make an Exemplar of Strength a 2-mana 4/4. So that is really good. Had to play it in this deck. On the lands, we're a budget deck, so don't expect anything too fancy with this land base. I would recommend upgrading it as soon as you can, because we are playing a lot of 2 and 3 drops in the main board. especially since we're playing Grasp of Darkness, which is double black. It's the only thing that has double of one single mana source, but 4 Evolving Wilds and then 10 of each Forest and Swamp. Again, nothing too exciting. Let's jump to the sideboard. Sideboard, and let's go over the things that may be kind of weird and you might not agree with, but that's okay. I'm trying to keep it as budget as I can, even though the sideboard is almost as much as the main board. We're going to play 3 Cartouche of Ambition. Yeah, I know this is not like everyone's favorite cartouche, and it's kind of one of the worst ones, but goes on themes with a -1 counter and gives one of our guys lifelink and +1/+1. You have this, you put it on a either a defiant greatmaw or a crocodile. The crossing, all of a sudden your guy gets even bigger. He gets lifelink. You put a -1 counter on a dude. You create a snake. You create an insect. Your board just got super big while minimizing their board. So I wanted to play a few in the sideboard, just in case your guys, you feel like you're playing against a deck that's just putting out bigger creatures than you. 3 Dissenter's Deliverance against stuff like Mardu Vehicles and Aetherworks Marvel. Obviously, 1 more Grasp of Darkness. We need more removal. Even though we have soulstinger, Splendid Agony, and 3 Grasp of Darkness in the main board. We have 3 Never to Return against stuff like I've been seeing some Abzan and green-white tokens decks. So that plays stuff like Liliana Death's Majesty, Gideon, and Nissa Voices Zendikar. So Never to Return would help with that. And it's also kind of good against zombies because you can exile one of their Dread Wanderers and they get a 2/2 zombie yourself. We're also going to play 2 copies of Ridgescale Tusker to buff our entire team. I saw it, I was looking at some decks to see what to play in the sideboard, and I saw some people playing Ridgescale Tusker in the main board, which I didn't want to actually do. But it was a good idea to put in the sideboard because we are kind of creature heavy here. We're going to have a whole bunch of tokens out. Ridgescale Tusker can buff them all. Just imagine having a whole bunch of 2/2 Death Touch snakes. And then for the final thing in the sideboard, we're playing 3 Heaney's Expertise. And I know this doesn't put -1 counters on guys, but we need something with mass removal. And we're kind of a token deck, but Heaney's Expertise can help take out stuff like zombies and other things of that nature. And off of Heaney's Expertise, you can basically play anything in our deck except for Soulstinger and Crocodile of the Crossing. So it fits really well with the deck, and it's definitely worth playing in this sideboard. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I like making these budget deck techs. If you guys have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and leave those in the comments. And if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, hit that notification bell as well to make sure you are receiving my content. And thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one.